Power, Privilege, and the Epstein Files. What the court documents show. Good evening. Tonight, we take a closer look at a case that continues to raise questions around power, accountability, and justice. In recent years, thousands of pages of court documents related to Jeffrey Epstein have been unsealed. These records, often referred to as the Epstein Files, have drawn global attention because they contain references to high-profile individuals across politics, business, academia, and entertainment. But what do these documents actually reveal? And just as importantly, what do they not prove? Who was Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein was a financier who built a network of wealthy and influential connections over several decades. He presented himself as a man involved in finance and philanthropy, often associating with prominent figures around the world. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida to state charges involving the solicitation of a minor. The plea agreement he received at that time later became the subject of public criticism due to its leniency. More than a decade later, in 2019, Epstein was arrested on federal charges related to sex trafficking involving minors. Before his case could go to trial, he died in a New York jail. Authorities ruled his death a suicide. His associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was later tried and convicted in federal court for her role in recruiting and trafficking underage girls. She is currently serving a prison sentence. While the criminal proceedings focused on Epstein and Maxwell, attention soon shifted to the broader circle of individuals connected to Epstein. What are the Epstein Files? The term Epstein Files refers to a collection of documents released through civil lawsuits and court proceedings. These include depositions, sworn testimonies, email exchanges, contact books, and flight logs. Many of these records were initially sealed and later unsealed by court order, making them accessible to the public. It is important to clarify that being named in these documents does not, by itself, indicate criminal wrongdoing. Individuals may appear in records for various reasons, including social interactions, professional relationships, or incidental mentions in testimony. Legal experts emphasize that context matters. A name appearing in a contact list or travel log is not the same as a criminal charge or conviction. The network of influence. One of the most striking aspects of the documents is the extent of Epstein's social reach. Over the years, he cultivated relationships with politicians, business executives, academics, royalty, and public figures. Photographs and records show that he attended high-profile events and maintained connections across multiple industries. The documents suggest that Epstein actively sought association with powerful individuals, often presenting himself as a philanthropist or benefactor. His connections provided him access to exclusive environments and influential institutions. There is no indication that every individual who interacted with Epstein was aware of his criminal conduct. However, the scope of his network has prompted broader conversations about how wealth and status can influence perception and potentially limit scrutiny. Survivors' testimony. At the center of this story are the survivors. Multiple women came forward over the years alleging that they were recruited as minors and subjected to abuse. Their accounts, many of which appear in sworn testimony, describe patterns of grooming, manipulation, and exploitation. Some civil cases detailed allegations that Epstein introduced young women to other individuals. It is important to note that allegations in civil filings are claims made under oath but do not automatically equate to criminal findings. Nevertheless, these testimonies played a significant role in reopening investigations and bringing renewed attention to the case. For many survivors, the release of documents represented a step toward transparency and accountability. Some have publicly stated that they felt ignored during earlier investigations and believe systemic failures allowed Epstein to continue his activities for years. The debate over accountability. One of the most debated aspects of the case involves how Epstein initially avoided severe consequences. His 2008 plea deal in Florida allowed him to serve a limited jail sentence under a work release arrangement. Critics argued that the agreement shielded him from broader federal prosecution at the time. When federal charges were later filed in 2019, questions resurfaced about whether Epstein's wealth and connections influenced earlier legal decisions. The unsealed documents reignited public discussion about whether justice operates differently for powerful individuals. Legal analysts caution against drawing conclusions without evidence. However, the broader issue remains. How do institutions ensure fairness and transparency when dealing with individuals of significant influence? The release of names. When additional records were unsealed, media coverage often focused on the appearance of well-known names. It is crucial to distinguish between being named in a document and being accused or charged with a crime. In many cases, individuals were referenced in passing or listed in contact information without any allegations attached to them. Others were mentioned in testimony but denied wrongdoing and were not charged. Responsible reporting requires careful attention to this distinction. Public curiosity is understandable, but reputational harm can occur when context is overlooked. The court documents provide information, but interpretation requires caution. Institutional lessons. Beyond individual names, the Epstein case raises broader institutional questions. How did warning signs go unaddressed for so long? Were opportunities missed to intervene earlier? What safeguards can prevent similar situations in the future? Following Epstein's 2019 arrest and subsequent death, internal investigations identified procedural failures within the detention facility where he was held. However, no evidence has substantiated widespread conspiracy claims regarding his death. The larger discussion now centers on reform, from prosecutorial transparency to improved oversight in detention facilities. Advocates argue that systemic change, rather than focus on personalities alone, is necessary to prevent future abuse of power. The ongoing impact. Although Epstein himself is no longer alive, the legal and social consequences of the case continue. Civil lawsuits remain active. Institutions connected to Epstein have faced scrutiny regarding donations and associations. Survivors continue to advocate for victim rights and legal reforms. The case has also influenced broader conversations about trafficking, consent, and the responsibilities of those in positions of authority. For many observers, the Epstein files serve as a reminder that proximity to power can complicate accountability, but it does not eliminate it. Conclusion. The Epstein files do not offer a simple narrative. They present a complex picture of influence, secrecy, and allegations that spanned years. They reveal connections, but not automatic conclusions. They document testimony, but not universal guilt. What remains clear is that transparency matters. Court records, investigative journalism, and survivor testimony have all played a role in bringing information to light. As the public continues to examine these documents, the focus remains on facts, verified findings, and the pursuit of accountability within the legal system. This case is not only about one individual. It is about the systems that allowed misconduct to persist, and the reforms necessary to ensure it does not happen again. Thank you for joining us. Please like, subscribe, and share the video.